Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Warbler Labs town hall. My name is Ezza. I am working as the community lead for Warbler Labs, and I help support Goldfinch. We're very excited to have all of you here today, and we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes as we wait for a few more people to join. I hope everyone's having a fantastic morning, or at least it's morning in San Francisco and the Pacific Coast. Hey, Mike. How's it going?
Hey, good. How's it? How about you, Izza?
It's going great. I just let everyone know that we're gonna start in just a couple of seconds. We're gonna wait for a few more people to dial in, and we're ready to get started. How's your morning?
It's great. Yeah, I was re-looking at all of the different things we've been doing since the last town hall, and there's like a lot of cool things to share. So, yeah, how's your morning going?
It's going great. I am super, super excited to know about all of the updates that you have to share with the rest of the community. Um, why don't we get started, actually?
Okay.
So I'm super curious to know, since the last time we chatted, Mike, what have been some of the updates for the Goldfinch protocol that you could share with the rest of us?
Yeah, there are two. So let's see. Since the last town hall, we did ship one big new feature, which was supporting Wallet Connect on the front end app. So this has been something that folks have been asking for a long time, and on the Warbler Labs team, we've been working on building that out. So I think that launched. Let's see, yesterday or the day before, I forget now, but now the front-end app for Goldfinch supports Wallet Connect, which expands beyond MetaMask. So a lot more folks will be able to use the app through the front end now because Wallet Connect supports a number of additional wallets. And then so that was a big update. And then a second big one that it was cool to see is just over the last few hours, the TVL on Goldfinch passed $100 million, which is a big milestone for the Goldfinch protocol. So if you look at the Dune analytics dashboard for the Goldfinch protocol, you'll see it just crossed 100 million. So it's exciting to see that kind of big milestone over the past few hours as well.
Very cool. And I'm just curious, like, why does it matter that the total value locked is increasing? Like, what is, in simple words, like, its benefit or the big deal here?
I think it reflects two things. I mean, one, it's important for the protocol to have capital to deploy out to the borrowers. So that when capital is coming into the protocol, it just means that together as a community, we're going to be able to get more loans out there around the world. So that's really helpful. And then the second thing is I think it reflects a vote of confidence from the broader crypto community that about like what Goldfinch is doing and the potential. And so seeing capital come in is a sign that like a lot of folks want to kind of help Goldfinch do all of this kind of deployment and expand the loans.
Very cool. Thank you so much for saying that. I thought it would be interesting for people that have lesser context to know like about the value of that. And I think with that, I'm super curious to hear about our recent governance activity. I know that the
Yep.
community has pushed for some really cool proposals.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm opening it up now, and we can talk through all of the recent activity on the governance forum since we did the last town hall. There have been a number of proposals that passed, which is exciting. So the first one that passed a few days after our last town hall was GIP04, which is about expanding eligible voting for GFI. So this proposal was about making it for the folks that have kind of earned GFI, but it's still locked up in the protocol. They can still use that towards votes. And this passed very strongly with 32 people voting. And it looks like 99.5% voted in favor. So that was great to see that pass. I think it's helpful because it's going to allow a lot of the really long-term oriented folks who are receiving GFI but having it vest over a period of time, they'll still be able to participate in future governance votes. The second proposal that also passed, let me see if I'm going in order here. Yeah, so GIP 07, which is about supporting entities on Goldfinch, that also passed. And so the background on this one is on the Warbler Labs side, we have created this NFT called Unique Identity, UID, and this confirms that someone has been KYC'd. And we recently we expanded this to support entities. So now there's an entity version of the UID. But the protocol and the Goldfinch community needed to decide whether or not to support this new type of the UID. And so this vote went, which is saying, should the protocol support U.S. and non-U.S. entities, basically supporting the U.S. entity and non-U.S. entity type of the UID. And this also passed unanimously. So 35 folks, not quite unanimously, but almost. 35 folks voted, and it rounds up to 100% in favor, although there was a fraction of a GFI that was voted no. But it's great to see. I was personally really excited about this. There have we've seen a lot of entities asking about participating, and so being able to enable this will just allow more people to have access to the protocol, which is all what we're all about, getting more access to this. And then let's see, the third proposal that was voted on was GIPO 8, which is about creating new community management and roles and back pay. And this was creating a whole system for creating community management going forward and compensating that, as well as providing back pay for all of the great community management work folks have done in the community so far. And so this went to vote, and this also passed, 33 people voting, and the results were 99.4% in favor. So that was also great to see, just that basically the community largely really agreeing with this vote as well. So those were all new votes that happened in the past week. And then there are still two proposals that are open for discussion. We want to leave this open because there was a decent amount of discussion happening about them. But one is GIP 06, which is the proposed Goldfinch roadmap. And the second one, and that is where Blake and I proposed a roadmap for what we can be building as a community for Goldfinch going forward. And the second one is GIP 05, retroactive borrower airdrop. This is also about reflecting the value that the earliest borrowers provided to the protocol and including them as a retroactive airdrop, similar to the way all the other participants in the protocol received an airdrop. So these two are still up for discussion. I actually think it would be cool if we can get the eligible voting maybe expanded before we put them to vote, because then we can incorporate more of the Goldfinch community participating in those votes. But those are also still open for discussion, and highly encourage other folks to weigh in if they have views on that.
Very cool. Thank you so much for giving us a rundown, Mike. I think that's super helpful summary for the community. And today I want to shift gears a little bit and introduce someone that is working in credit on Warbler Labs team, and someone I'm very, very excited to have here today. So his name is Aaron, and I'm gonna let Aaron share more about his background in just a bit. But Aaron joined our team in last October, and he relocated from Singapore to join us. He was born in Indonesia and spent most of his life in Asia, but was educated here in the US. And most recently, he received his master's degree from Wharton and Harvard. Now, his most recent role was as head of Asia at a fintech credit fund, but he's also worked in a VC, private equity, and investment banking and consulting in the past. We're very lucky to have you, Aaron, and I'm very happy that you're joining today. How's it going?
Thanks, Izza. Going well. It's great to be on my first Twitter Spaces ever. Excited to be presenting to this group.
That's super exciting, honestly. I'm glad that this can be your first Twitter space. Aaron, today I want to learn from you about something super specific in our Goldfinch protocol that a lot of people are obviously very interested in, and it is about what and who our borrowers are. And I know that you have great knowledge about how basically people can assess that they're getting a good deal. So I think like first thing for people that are joining in that may not have a lot of context on Goldfinch is who exactly are our borrowers, or what does this word even mean, Aaron?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it's something definitely worth clarifying because I think if you look at our front end, a lot of the deals are going to credit funds, and it's hard to exactly imagine who's actually using that money. So, what I would first say is that the people who are using our money are fintechs in the real world. And so these are companies that do lending activities and do them at such a scale that they need to borrow money in order to originate their own loans. And so what we provide is called on lending capital. Now, the reason you see credit funds as many of our borrowers in the platform is that those credit funds invest in fintechs. And so that's exactly what I used to do in my previous job and what other members of our credit team do. And leveraging the credit funds has several good opportunities for us, including having another set of eyes on the deals for underwriting, for structuring, for choosing the right deals. But the most important thing to remember is that ultimately the money is going to fintechs who are then lending it out into their local communities, either to consumers or SMEs or otherwise. And so the right way to think about it is that the borrowers or the people using our funds are those fintechs, and we're trying to solve for the most efficient ways to get that money to them while still maintaining the safety of our investors' money. And so I think right now a lot of that goes via credit funds, but pretty soon you're going to start to see a lot more direct to borrower deals where it'll be the name of actual fintechs raising on the platform.
Thank you, Aaron. Aaron, I know that there's a lot of deals that come to the Goldfinch protocol, and I know that, they've been assessed right now, but just in general, like how can people be sure that they're getting a good deal when they decide to park their capital in a certain protocol or in any specific borrower?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a pretty complicated process to really know how to diligence fintech deals. I mean, just stepping back for a second, one of the reasons there's such a massive demand for what we do is because local banks aren't really able to understand fintech's models, both in terms of how they use technology to provide finance, and also the fact that a lot of them are startups and not profitable and don't have the 5 years operating history and things that they usually use to underwrite. And so you have to have a very specific lens in order to assess these borrowers to figure out what the good ones are, because there will be a lot of deals out there that are not good. And so, from my perspective, some of the most important things to look at are, first of all, has the business proven its model? Like, if you're going to have a technological innovation to say using technology to offer finance to students, for example, is a really innovative solution. You still have to prove that that works, right? That the people are going to repay you, that you're giving them the loans in the right way, that you can achieve scale. And so, one thing to look at is how many loans they've originated, how long have they been around, have they proven that their model actually works? The next thing I would look at is basically what are their unit economics, or effectively, can they afford our debt? If they're going to pay 10% per annum for our debt, they have to be lending out at more than that. If they're lending at less than that, then they're making a loss at taking our debt, and it means that fundamentally their product doesn't cover our cost of capital. So that's another thing that people look pretty closely at, and they factor in other things that could affect could affect the returns of these investors, like loss rates, as well as their OPEX and things like that. But can they afford our debt is an important part of it. And then the last part I would look at is corporate strength. So for the most part, we're not funding only the loans directly. We also have recourse to the borrower's balance sheet and guarantees and things like that. And so if you have a fintech that just received millions of dollars in equity money and that's just sitting on their balance sheet and we have a guarantee, you can be quite certain that even if there's an issue with the loans being originated, that the company itself can repay us. And so those are some of the things that I think about. There's obviously a lot of nuance to that. And this again kind of highlights one of the reasons why we focus so much on credit funds early on while we're growing our book, because those guys do have very specific ways and deep dives into these companies that can kind of capture some of these idiosyncratic risks well. Although we're hoping over time that, through community education as well as other things, people will be able to do that deal analysis themselves. But one more thing to add is just that for the moment, observing how other people who know how to underwrite these deals think about them is also a good signal for what's a good deal. And that's partly why we put these reputable credit funds on there saying, hey, we've looked at this deal, we have skin in the game, we think you should join.
Thank you so much for that super helpful explanation, Aaron. And really, I think you shared a lot of super helpful tips and ways of looking at a specific deal. I'm curious here, what are some ways specifically that people at Goldfinch or anyone that is, parking capital in one of these borrowers, how can they get in touch with the borrowers directly?
Yeah, I think we try to set up as many opportunities to interact with borrowers directly, and I would actually love to see more community members take advantage of those. So, we set up the borrowers set up Discords or Telegrams to answer questions during diligence. If it was me, and I'm sure that people would also be happy for you to reach out to them directly, but if it was me, what I would do is analyze the data rooms that we provide, which are pretty comprehensive. Start thinking about questions that you would want to ask, and then use those forums that we've set up to ask the questions to the people who are seeking money. I think something else that we're thinking of doing in the future is these people who are doing more repeat deals with us. We're thinking of having kind of a live data room up there, so people who are already invested in the deals can go there, see updates on the business and things like that, and hopefully that develops an ongoing conversation between investors and borrowers to make those channels a bit more robust. Because I think it's beneficial for everybody if there's lines of communication.
Very cool. And specifically for people that might be new, if you join our Discord, which is linked basically in the Twitter handle for Goldfinch, and we'll share it out after this call, that's a great way to stay in touch with the announcements that different borrowers make and carry more information about where their data rooms are. Aaron, really quickly, I'm hoping or wondering if you could give a rundown of some of the deals that are coming to the protocol really soon. I'm hoping if you could speak to maybe what some of the upcoming deals are, what their sizes are, and who the borrowers are.
Yeah, sure. So some of them haven't been announced yet, but I'll talk about it generally and in one case quite specifically. So one of the new borrowers who's going to be coming onto the platform is LendEast. They posted up their overview of themselves as a borrower on our governance board recently, and they should be announcing their first deal soon. But this is a team that I've worked with for a long time. They're based in Singapore. They do investments across Southeast Asia, primarily in Indonesia and the Philippines, as well as in India. And the people that they will be financing with our money are SME lenders, consumer lenders, asset-backed finance lenders. So it's similar profiles to what we've seen in our previous deals like Oya, DiviBank, Tugende, but all of the borrowers will be in Southeast Asia. Now, in terms of other borrowers coming through the pipeline, we have, I would say, a very robust pipeline that we're looking to diversify across various geographies, mainly in emerging markets, but we're also looking elsewhere. And I think one other exciting thing about borrowers that are upcoming is you're probably going to start seeing more loans directly to borrowers. So it'll be profiles of actual fintechs on on the platform. And that's something that I'm pretty excited about. But I think in terms of funds, we probably have one Asia fund, one Latin America fund, all coming as new borrowers to the deal in the next few months.
Got it. Thank you so much for that rundown. And I'm curious, like, if there is a specific place where you think like our community can go to first, like to gather this information. I know that there's now like a public facing calendar, which is bit.ly/borrower pipeline. But is there any place else where like a community can make sure they get the information as soon as it comes?
Um, yeah, so I would say it's a little bit tough because a lot of these private debt firms are private for a reason. They don't disclose all their deals. And so some of our newer borrowers aren't necessarily going to forecast when they're coming to the protocol. It might be things that you only see as the announcements come up. And so I would say keeping a close eye on the Discord as well as on governance posts where new borrowers are required to introduce themselves are good places to see upcoming deals. And then we're going to try our best as well to push borrowers to put more information into that forward-looking pipeline document, but also appreciate people's patience as borrowers borrowing for the first time tend to like to approach things a little bit slowly. But I think once we have several different borrowers and funds up there, we're going to have a lot of live deal information that'll be coming through more frequently.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Let's all now switch to the Q&A section, which is my favorite section of the day. And I'd love to take any live questions. So if you request to be a speaker, I am happy to put you on stage for a couple of minutes and can answer your question. While you guys do that, let me ask you a question from the community, which is there any plan, Mike, for GFI to be listed on any new CEX or DEX in the upcoming future?
Yeah. So I think so when it comes to getting GFI listed, my understanding is really up to the community to do this, and I'm aware there are some apps that are in right now to some exchanges, including FTX and OKX, as well as for Binance. And this is where like it's really, and then also I think there are some others going out to some other exchanges as well. But it's really kind of up to the community to make this happen. So I know in our Discord, there's a Binance channel that was created and folks talking about it. This is where the community can probably help kind of convey their thoughts there. I would refer people to that channel to see what folks in the community are doing specifically about Binance. But yeah, when the question is, are there plans? I know that there are some applications that we're in, and then it's really up to the community to make it happen.
Yeah, and more specifically for all of you, like for as a starting point, like the Binance channel on the Goldfinch Discord is what Mike was referring to as a starting point. We have a question right now from Mark Saunders. I'm just gonna invite and add you as a speaker. Go ahead and ask your question, Mark.
Let's see. I don't see any new speakers. Oh, there we go. Okay. Looks like your mic isn't on right now.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark here.
Hi.
Big fan of Goldfinch. I think I've mentioned it before that I, really, really love the elegant design of the platform and just how thoughtful you guys are in aligning incentives and different parties and all of that. My question, so I'm going to put you guys a little bit on the spot here, but there was a previous governance proposal. I think it was about ensuring that the senior backers that wish to provide capital to the borrower pools don't incur any penalties or forfeited rewards. So I, just from hearing what you were talking about, there's quite a lot of new pools that are probably going to be opening. Any chance that that improvement is going to coincide with some of these new borrower pools coming in?
Let me see. I'm trying to think of which proposal are you referring to here? Because I'm not immediately familiar with what you're referring to.
Uh,
Or
yeah, it's the one where it's people that provide capital to the or senior backers, if they wish to provide capital to one of the borrow pools. Currently, like you have to withdraw your money from as a senior backer, then you incur the 0.5% penalty and that kind of thing.
Yes. That is built, and that has been put to audit, and the audit with Trello Bits, and it was all audited. And so my understanding is it will be ready very soon. I don't have the exact date, but like the code is already written, and it's just a matter of kind of getting it deployed and getting the new smart contracts deployed.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, thanks guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great proposal for the other folks who maybe aren't familiar. That will, as I just described, it will allow people to move directly from the senior pool into the individual junior tranches of borrow pools without incurring the withdrawal penalties or forfeiture of the rewards. So that's great. It makes it really easy for people to leave capital in the senior pool in the meantime and then deploy it right into borrow pools.
Thanks so much for your question, Mark, and thank you for your response, Mike. We have another question here from New Trader on Discord, which is, will there be an opportunity in the future for holders of the GFI token to receive a loan on more favorable terms? That is, to use the management, I think they mean utility token, for borrowers as an incentive for its further purchase and retention.
Yeah, I think my take is that I think that's a really interesting idea. It isn't something that I've seen proposed before or have been in discussions, but I think it's pretty intriguing, and I think it's worth thinking through how that could work and maybe putting a proposal together. But my answer to that is maybe. I'm not familiar with any active efforts right now to build that or to work on that, but it's a really interesting idea.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. There's some feedback from the community for the answer about centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. Just an FYI, our community right now is working on Bybit, Qcoins, and others. And we just wanted to flag that we understand that Binance is key since a lot of our users are outside the US and can't access Coinbase. And just wanted to plug once more to check out the Binance channel on our Discord and get collaborate with other community members to get GFI listed.
Yeah, just by the way, just to add to that, my understanding with these things with decentralized exchanges is they tend to look at how much activity there are in the communities and how much interest. And so the reason why I keep saying, oh, it's up to the community is because it isn't like there isn't any single thing one individual like anything I could do or like any other individuals can do. It's really up to the community demonstrating to these exchanges that there's a lot of interest here and that it's a cool project to be listed. And so yeah, it's really that's why I say that is it's like about showing these exchanges that there's a lot of folks who are interested in it.
Got it. Thank you so much for that clarification, Mike. We have space for maybe one more question from the audience today. Happy to take on more speakers. And if not, then we can wrap up in just a couple of minutes. So one last chance for everyone. If there's any interest in asking a question, now is your chance.
While we're giving it a second for folks to raise their hand, I'm curious, is it that this is the new time this week, right? I guess Pacific time in the morning on Friday. Will this be the ongoing time for future ones?
Yes, this is the ongoing time for future ones. However, if we receive input from our community members that this is a time that's not working, we're always happy to shift it to a time that's more favorable. We have a request from Ogwid on Twitter, so I'm just going to give you the mic, Ogwid, and feel free to ask your question. I think Ogwid's being connected.
Cool.
There you go. You have the stage.
Great, thank you. Hey, everybody. My name's August Whitmer. Really big fan of Goldfinch and what y'all are building. Congrats on all the big wins recently.
Sorry, Ogwit, I think we're having trouble hearing you. Do you mind speaking up a little bit?
Sure. How about now? Is this any better?
It's very light, but if I raise the volume, I think I can hear it. Looks like your mic is off now.
Looks like Ogwit's having some tech issues. Let me see if we have Theorizer who's interested in being a speaker, and if they have any questions to ask.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to speak here. I've been reading the one paper, talking about, the fact that there is opportunity in emerging markets, etc., and that's, I guess, one of the key arguments to use your protocol, etc. I'm wondering, with what's happening right now, with Ukraine, with kind of the sanctions on Russia, etc. How does it impact emerging markets? How are you guys thinking about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess to make sure I understand, are you referring to like how does it impact the broader, I guess, economics of it, and like who are going to be good borrowers or not for the platform?
Yes, exactly. From an economic standpoint.
Yeah, my my initial reaction is I'm less of a macro economist, so I wouldn't be able to answer what the effects would be on the like individual borrowers. I would suspect that in certain markets it makes it difficult for some borrowers versus others, and that's just a really important part of determining which borrowers the backers want to support to make sure that they're bringing on good credit risks in that standpoint. But I would say that one of the benefits of what Goldfinch is doing is going to many markets all over the world, throughout Latin America, Africa, Europe, North America, Asia, like everywhere. And that provides a degree of diversification where if there's like one part of the world that is seeing sort of big anomalies in the economics that put certain borrowers at risk, hopefully the broader protocol is diversified and able to kind of like handle those kinds of things. So I think the high level answer I would have for you is like these kinds of things that happen in the world, they're real credit risks. I personally am not an economist and can't really say exactly how that would affect the credit risk of any individual borrower, but I think it's a really important thing to consider for each borrower that the backers want to provide capital to, and then hopefully with the broader diversification of the protocol, that helps to sort of like work, be more sustainable, even when different parts of the world are having certain kind of big impacts on the economy.
And I would just add, I mean, I agree with everything that Mike said, but I would just add we had an interesting discussion about this on the TradFi Lounge channel in our Discord recently. So would encourage you to check out some of the good responses there, as well as contribute if you want to chat about it further.
Got it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Aaron.
All right. Thank you so much for your question. With that, unfortunately, we are out of time for this week's town hall. But as always, we love talking to all of you, hearing from all of you. So if you guys have any questions, please do join our next town hall. We're going to share the details about that in the next couple of days. And you can always post your questions in town hall chat. You can always, tag us in the Discord channel, and we'll get back to you as often as we can. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming in and listening today. And as always, Mike, it's such a pleasure to chat with you and hear about your insights. And Aaron, I'm so happy that you joined and I got to learn a lot, even though I am part of Goldfinch, like helping Goldfinch. And yeah, it's been such a pleasure to have both of you.
Thanks, Izza.
Yeah, and thanks, Aaron. That was great.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day or evening.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you all.